Peter Pan Return to Neverland. And I am reviewing this a little bit early. I did say in my last Peter Pan review that I was going to do these on Saturdays. Um, Essentially, am going to go watch Renfield Friday night, and I want to have that review out on Saturday, and I want to have a High Republic book review out on Friday. So this is just coming a day early, basically. Just a little shift in schedule. Still want to get this review out, and I'm reviewing both these movies in lead up to the uh, what is it? The is it Peter Pan and Wendy? Whatever that new Disney Plus remake thing that's coming out at April 28th. And then next week I will be reviewing Fatal Attraction. So that's just an just an update on my review schedule lead up to the Paramount Plus remake of Fatal Attraction. So, anyways, I've never seen this movie before. Just because reality wise, this is a lot of the Disney movie sequels that I've seen. The reason I've seen them is because they were usually bundled with like if you bought Lilo and Stitch, you got Lilo and Stitch 2 or whatever. Or something like that. They usually were bundled with other ones, which is a great marketing strategy because once you started getting into Blu-ray, I don't think a lot of people wanted to buy these Disney movie sequels separately because they're not good. Early days of DVD and VHS made sense, but after that, it was like, all right. Anyways, this is Disney Movie Club exclusive Blu-ray, by the way. I think this is a really cool edition. Looks really neat. Like the slipcover. Anyways, we're not here to talk about cool editions and review schedules. We're here to talk about this movie that I've never seen before, and I actually surprisingly enjoyed this one. I say surprisingly because again, it's a Disney sequel. These are direct-to-video movies that aren't necessarily great, but I think they had some fun with this one. You could tell that there was a little bit more effort put into this one, and I think part of that was I believe this did get a limited theatrical release when this one came out. And it's not bad. Because everything in this movie is something I imagine they would do if Disney themselves. Like, this is not made. So, if you don't know, these Disney sequels are not made by Walt Disney Animation Studios. They're made by a company that is now defunct and no longer around called Disney Toon Studios. But I feel like if this has been made, let's say Walt Disney Animation Studios said today, we're making Peter Pan 2, this is probably what it would be. Basically, essentially, the plot of this one is that Captain Hook and them get to go kidnapped. They're gonna go kidnap Wendy's daughter, thinking that it's Wendy. Everybody thinks it's Wendy, and it's really not. And the daughter's having this whole conflict about growing up, which is very similar to Wendy, but it makes a little bit more sense because she's dealing with World War II in the real world, and it's taken away all of her innocence, and she's clearly going through things. And I think this works a lot better than the first movie, because in the first movie, when Wendy's talking about, I have to grow up tomorrow, she's just not allowed to stay in the same room with her siblings, but it's not really that interesting as a conflict. I feel like this is more interesting a conflict. You have someone who's literally being forced to leave their home and deal with war, a very hard to understand thing for a child. And so she's trying to mature too fast, and she's learning that it's okay to be a child and have imagination and things like that. I feel like that works a little bit more for more of my interest with this kind of story. And the animation is not as good as the original, of course, but it also looks pretty good for what it is. And yeah, I feel like I got more into the character conflicts. When you watch the first one, there really isn't real character conflicts. It's just a story about Peter and Wendy goofing around at Neverland. There's not really a plot to it. It's just the multiple sequences of Captain Hook trying to get Peter Pan. They save the day. There's really not too much to it. I feel like this has a little bit more weight to it and more of an actual story and conflict. And yeah, I thought that was nice. And there are some obviously moments where I could tell that this is a direct-to-video sequel and should have been written a little bit better. Like one of the first opening sequences of the movie is them going into a bomb shelter and the daughter's out by herself with the dog to get socks for her brother's birthday. Like, it's just the dumbest scene. But like that's a thing. But I can see like stuff like that being worked or be a little bit written a little bit better. But other than that, and the annoying pop songs throughout this movie that just do not fit this movie at all, I think this is a solid sequel that honestly stands pretty well with the original. Obviously, when you talk about uh, these Disney animated movies, I mean, they're classics for a reason. They're amazing. It's hard to make something that will stand up well next to it. But again, I think if this had just been written a little bit better and animated a little bit better, it probably would have been up there with the original. And I think even by its own standards, it's a pretty decent sequel. That I think honestly, if you're someone who really loves Peter Pan or has kids that really love Peter Pan, this is not a bad one to check out. I think it works for what it is. It's not it's not amazing 10 out of 10, and this is coming also from someone who did not love the original Peter Pan. Uh, it's a good movie. I'm not gonna sit there and deny that, but I'm just saying, and so I had a nice time watching this one. I really enjoyed the time I spent with it. So yeah, I thought this was, and I feel like I would watch this more than the original Peter Pan, but that's just me. I feel like others who love the movie more, the original Peter Pan, will probably feel a little bit different, but not too much different. I think most people, will understand what I'm saying here. I think this is a fun movie. So yeah, let me know your thoughts, like, share, and subscribe.